My name is Carlos Ross. I'm the community behavior specialist for our school-based team. And today we're here to discuss some resources to help navigate through this coronavirus.
Yeah, it's a tricky deal here. Be sure to drop your questions in the comment box below whenever you have them.
Well, Monica, let's start off,
Okay.
since you're this expert on anxiety.
Yeah.
Well, how would you, in this crisis right now, what suggestions do you have for like families and kids and things like
Yeah,
that's
okay.
at home at this time?
It's a great question. So honestly, simplicity is going to be important because so many people don't have resources. So simplicity is the key. So think back in the old days when grandma, great grandma, whoever, what we used to do back then. We used to climb trees and ride bikes and play tag and run around the house and do all sorts of things. We can still do those things with this virus happening because we're pretty much secluded. So it's very important to think about what would be fun because honestly, the electronics, even though we're on an electronic right now, is
Right.
a problem. People are completely attached to their electronics and it's causing more panic.
And anxiety, I agree.
Yeah.
Well, I kind of look at it, I like a lot of that, what you're saying. I kind of look at it as a time that families should be coming together, having these discussions.
Mhm.
Like, we spend so much time, like you mentioned, on social media and things like that, that we forgot about eating dinner and having conversations with one another.
Mhm.
It's in and out. You very seldom do you even see your kids at this time, or your husband or your wife, because we're always working and we're in the world.
Mhm.
So I think this is definitely a time right now that we can resort back to some of the things that we did in the earlier times before social media and other things got so popular.
So give some example. You work primarily with kids.
I do.
So give some examples to the people listening that might have kids, grandkids, any of that, of what they could do.
Okay. Well, I think to reduce some of the stress, get outside. Do some outside things. You could get some chalk. You got kids with chalk, draw the hopscotch on the driveway, or throw the football, kick the soccer ball.
Mhm.
Communicate. Go get on the swing. Take a Lysol. Go get on the swing. Just protect yourself.
Lysol.
Yeah, Lysol, hand wipes to protect yourself. You know, at all times. I just think it's a time that we can really get back into nature
Mhm.
and things like that.
Some ideas that are free, completely free, in case you've lost your job and you're having a hard time paying bills, is you can play hide and seek in the house.
That used to be fun.
Oh, so much fun. It's terrorizing with my brothers and sisters.
Right.
But you can do kind of like an egg hunt, even though we're not at Easter yet. You can do a hunt of any sort. You can just make clues on a piece of paper. You can have one child be blue, one child be pink, however many children you have, different colors, and you have cues all over the house.
I think we all are creative in our own way. So do creative things that you know that your kids or your loved ones like to do. Put your phones down and get into one another. Show some love, spread some knowledge and wisdom with each other. You probably know there's probably things that's going on in your household that you don't even know about because we don't communicate at all.
Something that I used to do when I had little kids, they were 8, 9, 10, we used to do rock, paper, scissors because we were so bored in the car on long trips. And if you haven't played rock, paper, scissors,
How does that go?
it's very simple.
How does it
Did
go?
you never play it?
No.
Okay, so this is rock, this is paper, and this is scissors. And you just go 1, 2, 3, and you throw one of them out. And you just do it as quick as you can, and you start laughing hysterically because it becomes crazy wild. And it's just a ridiculously easy game to play.
Yeah.
So there's simple stuff. Thumb wars. Have you ever done thumb wars? Where you go back and forth and you try to catch each other. This is free, you guys, and it's fun. And the kids are like, wow, we can actually do something with mom or dad. It's fun.
Play cards.
Make sure you send your questions to the Dropbox below.
Play cards.
Mm.
Board games. Like, board games are extinct these days. Like, Monopoly would take you 3 hours.
Yes, it will.
You know what
Yes,
I'm saying?
it
Play a
will.
game of Monopoly. It's also
Yeah.
teaching, learning how to count and about real estate and property and stuff like that you can later transition into a conversation maybe over dinner.
Mhm.
So it's a lot of different things that could be done in this time.
All right, so we've got a question that was sent in by someone via email. So, Monica and Carlos, how do I get calm in my house so I can work effectively when my children are around?
Okay, so this is from a parent, it sounds
Yes.
like. How to get calm in the house when the children are around. That's a
First,
fun one.
take a deep breath.
Very deep breath. Deep breaths are underrated, but they work.
Yeah,
they
they do.
truly do work. So it's a very slow deep breath. It's a very slow inhale. You hold it for 5-6 seconds, and then you slowly exhale through your mouth. You do that a few times. If you have to, lock yourself in the bathroom. You do what you got to do
Yeah.
to make sure you have some peace. And then you also talk to the kids and explain to them, Mommy's kind of stressed right now. I need some downtime. So if you guys could play, please, for 10 minutes, I'm going to put the timer on, or your phone timer, since a lot of people don't have egg timers anymore. And you just turn it on and you go get 10 minutes or even 20. Push it to 20 minutes, depending on how old the kids are.
How about creating a schedule? As a daily schedule for the next 2 weeks. Plan out. They said things will be shut down until the end of this month. Do a daily schedule where your kids posted in the house, where everybody knows where everybody's gonna be, and the time that people need to self-regulate.
I'm going to encourage, please limit TV. Please limit computer time. I know today's world is computerized. It's the way of the world. But causing children to be on the internet, computers, watching TV, causes them to get more heightened, which is more difficult to bring down. So please limit TV and computer time. They will fight you, but they'll get over it. They'll figure it out as long as you've got something for them to do.
I agree. I totally agree. Homework, like I said,
Homework.
yeah, they still have virtual learning
Still have homework to do, yeah.
So it's just creative ways to interact with one another in your house and outside your house. Go start a garden. That's a good thing. Ride a bike in your neighborhood.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with going out. The CDC is fine with going out, walking around, riding bikes, doing all that. Just don't get around congregated groups, is all they're saying. So you can still go to a park. I wouldn't recommend the swing set or the slide set right now, but you can play around the park, kick the ball, have fun, a safe area. But if a whole bunch of people start to congregate, you're going to have to just back up a little bit.
So, we've got another question.
Oh, good.
So, should I stop watching the news? My anxiety is taking over my life. How do I function?
That is...
You want to take this one?
We could both take it. It's probably the number one problem that we are seeing in the mental health field, especially with adults, because kids aren't that much into the news for the most part. But I'll just tell you, I had a client who was middle-aged, and she watched the news religiously, both morning and then the evening news. And she could never sleep. She just couldn't sleep. And she kept coming in, I'm not sleeping, I'm sleeping. This is way before Corona. And I said to her, I want you to do me a favor and just stop watching TV. News, that is, after 5 o'clock. Nothing after 5 o'clock. And she was like, oh, how am I going to find out the news? I said, the news will be there in the morning, I promise. It'll be there. So just stop after 5. She agreed. She came back the next week for therapy. She slept like a baby after the first 2 nights. It took her a while to get accustomed to it. But she slept so well because she didn't have the news running through her head, which tends to be negative, unfortunately.
I mean, I totally agree with Monica. I mean, because you don't really know what to believe at this point. There's so many conflicting stories and headlines and things like that, and it starts to make you get scatterbrained. Like, you don't know if you're going or coming. I mean, you're up, you hear some good news, and in 1 minute, the next minute, it's bad. So it's just like, I like what you said, limit your TV interaction and have more communication with the people, your loved ones, and talk, and plan. Because, I mean, this is definitely a situation in which we should be taking advantage of the idle time to plan for our futures.
Yeah.
So,
For adults, again, send your questions to the below Dropbox. I don't understand Facebook, but I'm just doing what I'm told, which is very unusual for me. So, send your questions. For adults, whether you have kids or don't have kids, whether you're an elderly person, you need to take care of yourself. So if that means deep breathing, if that means gardening, read. What is that? What's that?
It's a book.
It's a book. It's a great thing, and you don't have to do it electronically. it causes the brain to work differently when you're not on electronics. You can go outside, even if you're having difficulty walking for whatever the reason, and you can just go outside and look at the trees. Watch the trees sway. It calms people down.
I totally agree 110% what Monica is saying. What she's saying, I do myself. When I get home from work, I sit on my porch, let my kids ride their bikes outside, and I just enjoy life as if it's not going on. I take the necessary precautions that the CDC has put out there to protect myself, my family, and my loved ones. Outside of that, I don't allow television or post or different things like that to raise my anxiety. Because if your anxiety raises, here comes your blood pressure and all these other different medical issues that you could have from that. So
Another thing to think about, and I know this could be difficult for a lot of you, is why don't you meet your neighbors? A lot of
Do you
people.
know your neighbors?
I know all my neighbors. My neighbors
I
know
believe
me.
that. You part of the homeowner association? Monica?
No, I hate the homeowners association. But I'm in one, okay? But they all know me, and they know me because I make the choice to go and say, hi, how are you? Who are you? I live over here. Feel free to come over and borrow sugar. I just make it known, and before you know it, there's a whole bunch of people that are waving and talking to each other as they're going for a walk in the neighborhood.
I got another one. Spring clean. Spring cleaning, y'all. Great. You have all the time in the world right now to get rid of those old clothes, donate to people in need, be a resource to people. How about baking some things that you thought you couldn't bake? How about cooking some meals that you thought you couldn't do? Get creative with ways in which to take care of yourself where you're not totally focused on what's going on in the world, that you're isolating yourself and helping your friends and family get through this crisis.
For folks that have little kids, there's Play-Doh, and you can make it for about $1. It's really easy. Just look it up, even though I'm telling you not to use electronics. Look it up. And it is flour, salt, and water. And if you have food coloring, great. If you don't, no big deal. That's all it is. And the kids can, the little ones, the big ones don't care much about it, but the little ones love Play-Doh, and they love to make it and squish it and do all sorts of things with it.
I agree. We liked it. Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
Please send your questions. We want to hear from you guys of what you're dealing with on a day-to-day basis to help you guys navigate as much as we can with your anxiety and different things that you could do that's for free.
So we have another question. If you want to come to counseling at Chris 180 during this time, are we open?
We are wide open, and we are working hard. Everybody is working. We're doing both in clinic, so you can come into the clinic and see a therapist or your therapist, or you can do telehealth if you don't want to come into the clinic. The cool thing that's happening with the clinic is people are pulling up in their parking, and then they text their therapists and they say, I'm outside. And then when the therapist is ready, the therapist comes outside and they go straight up to their room. So it's really great. They're not exposed to anybody that might be in the waiting room. Or we do telehealth too, so we can call you at home and we can do a behavioral health assessment, therapy. Our doctors can provide medications over the line. We can do pretty much everything right now thanks to the state of Georgia relaxing the requirements.
And we also have our community behavior specialists out in the field that's on the west side, Decatur, DeKalb, Clayton. We're all over the place. We're still seeing our clients and encouraging them to come outside. Let's meet at the park. Let's do telephonics. So we're continuing to work diligently on ensuring that not only is our caseload being seen, but other people that may need some assistance as well.
Yeah. The other thing to think about is I know the libraries are closed, but the Atlanta area is very well known for those private little library boxes that are outside neighborhoods. As I drive, I see them all the time. You don't have to live in that neighborhood to go get a book, guys, okay? So if you live in, let's say, Decatur, and you can't find one of those outdoor boxes, just drive a little bit around through some other neighborhoods. You're going to find one of the boxes. I saw a couple this morning taking some books out and also putting some books back. So that's another free service for you.
Please make sure you're checking our website and stuff like that for like food pickup areas and stuff that the counties and cities are putting out to ensure that people are nourished and have food that's having issues. Also, don't hesitate if you're in crisis to give us a call and see what we could do for you guys.
And you can also check out our Facebook page for a list of our open counseling center locations. Anyone there can also put you in the right direction.
Mm-hmm. So even though this is a really high stress time for folks, having a conversation like we're having, I mean, my anxiety's pretty down to nothing right now because we're having a good time, and it's just a conversation. That's all we're doing is having a conversation. We could be talking about one of the football teams or basketball teams, whatever is comfortable for you. You can do it on the phone if you don't want to come out of your house. It's being with humans, whether it's virtual, phone, or in person, and having a good time, laughing, talking. It's really important to lower anxiety. Try to stay away from the news as much as you can after 5 o'clock.
Be informed, but not over-informed.
So I have a question.
Yes.
Are there good breathing exercises that we can do that will help center us?
Sure. I mean, there's so many. Also, again, I'm trying to get you guys away from electronics, but there's so many apps that have breathing, yoga. There's yoga for kids. There's all sorts of fantastic things that you can do via apps, and many of them are free. But sorry.
No, you're good. We can do something as simple as calisthenics, jumping
What's
jacks,
that?
sit-ups, push-ups, things that don't cost anything. That's what we're trying to
Yeah.
open up in this conversation is
Yeah.
resources that we can use that we already have without having to spend money. Because we know at this time, money is definitely a hot topic. People being laid off or employment being slow a little bit. But take care of yourself.
But just to answer that last question, so I talked about in the beginning just doing a very deep breath in through the nose and out through the mouth. There's so many. You can do some lying down, and you can put your hand on your chest. You can put your hand on your diaphragm, and you can feel it come up and down. That also relaxes you. The deep breathing is just very, very important because honestly, guys, even though we breathe, they're shallow breaths. We just walk around all day long just breathing shallow breaths. But if you notice someone that's stressed, you'll see them take these deep breaths, and it's a natural thing that they're doing. It's just this natural thing that happens because it actually relaxes them. So do it more regularly.
So we've got a question from Morgan from Facebook, and she says, with all the talk of coronavirus around, it is sure to be scary for kids. Do you have a recommendation on the best way to communicate the situation to kids that's honest but not super frightening?
Absolutely. Children are amazing. They're so much smarter than adults.
I agree.
So honesty is the best policy, but you do not have to give all the facts that will blow their head up because they're really kids. They don't need to know every single fact known to mankind. So you be honest with them and say it is a virus, just like the flu is a virus, just like the cold is a virus. Now they're all different, mind you, but it is a virus. And we have to take care of ourselves by washing our hands because kids, they don't like to wash their hands or take baths for the most part. So you got to tell them, let's wash your hands before you eat, wash your hands before you blow your nose, and after you blow your nose, wash your hands, wash your hands. Get that ingrained into kids because that's going to help lower their susceptibility to getting the illness or any illness, actually colds and stuff like that.
I agree with that. I mean, it's just, at this point, we should be informing the kids, but like I said, not over-inform them. Good way to teach good hygiene habits right now, as Monica said, things that we should have already been doing that I guess being brought to light right now because of the coronavirus. But these are things that we should be teaching our kids, and I would designate, I'm a planner, so I would designate a time during the day to talk with my kids on a daily basis about what's happening as this thing progresses and start to regress, and things that we need to implement in our household on a daily basis going forward.
The other thing to work with kids and yourself on is control. We have very little control in our lives. Okay, we choose what we put on our bodies in the morning. We choose what time we go to bed for the most part. We choose what we put in our mouth. That's almost what we have control over. There's a few other things. So anxiety comes from loss of control, lack of control. I'm out of control. And so teach your children, we have control over what we have control over. let's make the best of whatever we have, because that's what we can do. When we shoot up through the clouds with anxiety and fear because of what we're hearing on the news or what we're hearing from neighbors or friends or family's escalating some anxiety too. It causes kids to go zoom. And kids watch their parents like hawks, whether you know it or not, they watch you. So if you're zooming up, they're going to
going
be
with
zooming
you.
up right behind you. So please try to stay calm around your kids. You can lose it, outside if you want. Go into your car and lose it if you need to. Call a friend. But try not to lose it with your kids.
Yes, definitely. Definitely. Try to, like I said, inform them. Don't scare them. Just teach the skills that they need to have in order to be safe and to make sure everybody else is safe.
Keep dropping those questions.
We have a new question from Lila from Facebook. What about preteens and teens who have access to social media and know that it is serious?
Okay.
Teens and preteens, huh?
Yeah. I mean, teens, I love them. They're my favorites. Because they will push you to the limits and they will tax you and they will debate you, and that's what I love about them. However, they also think they know a lot of stuff that they really don't know because they're just being told from whether it's peers or
Social media.
Facebook, wherever. And so all you can do is try to educate them to the best of your ability that this is a fact and this is not a fact. And I would go with the CDC. I would not go with the news. I would not go with even the government at this point, because the CDC is the expert on illnesses. So get your news from the CDC as far as the illness and what it means and what it looks like and all that.
I mean, I agree. I challenge my teens and preteens to do some research. This is not the first time that a virus has impacted the daily lives of Americans and people across the world. So do some research on it and have an open conversation, because this won't be the last one. So that they'll be better prepared as adults to possibly talk to their kids as well, later in life if something like this was to ever happen again. So I kind of think, and use them as the driving force, because they are tomorrow's leaders.
Yes, they are.
So let's educate them and how to manage their anxiety themselves, because they're all over the place. I have teenagers at home.
Right. It's hard if you have a mom or a dad that's meditating. Okay, I'm doing this because it's the common meditation look. So they're doing their meditation. Let's say they do it every morning. Let's say they do it every night. Kids see that and they say, "Oh, mom's so stupid by doing that," or "Dad's so stupid by doing that." But they see it and they see that mom is calm or dad is calm or whatever, and they start to learn there might be something to this. So even though they say you're stupid or dumb or whatever, let the teenagers do what they do. But if you want to help teenagers, they'll laugh probably at you, but something that is a blast for at least Carlos and I is to dance up a storm.
Yeah.
Turn on that music, turn on whatever music you like, hip hop, 60s, whatever, and just dance all over that house. The kids will laugh at you, but they might join in. The little ones will always join in. The big ones will just say, "Oh, you're so stupid." But the big ones will join in at some
Eventually.
point. Yes.
So we have a question about seniors. So we've talked about children, teenagers. What about the elderly population?
That's
How
a
do you
tough one.
get able to calm their fears about what's going on?
I'm going to let you handle that one.
Okay.
Bingo.
Unfortunately, seniors oftentimes are isolated already. Sometimes they live alone. Oftentimes they live alone. Sometimes they're in nursing homes or they're in high rises. But even if they're in their own house, they tend to either be alone or have a partner. And because of that isolation, they also get extremely fearful because,
Yes.
one, they're susceptible.
Yes.
They're much more susceptible because they might already have an illness. They might already have some other physical ailment that causes them to be more susceptible. And so it's very scary for seniors. So, but with seniors, I'm begging you, please reach out to friends or to relatives. The senior centers, they're closed right now, but you can even call them and speak to them.
Yeah.
There's hotlines that you can call that you can just actually call and talk to them and not be alone in that manner. You can also go outside
Yeah, get them
and
out of the house.
sit on the porch and just watch people go by. You can just wave to them or not wave to them, whatever you're wanting to do. But there's lots of people that are willing to just talk. They can sit on the front porch and I might walk by and you know me, I'm going to say hello, how are you, and what's your name, and I live up the street.
The head of the HOA.
Oh, if you only knew. So it's tough for seniors, but seniors need to step out as much as they can, whether it's by phone or whether it's physically.
And if they're a senior, I'm more than sure that they've been through some things like this in the previous. So I kind of think like the news and things like that, they have a grips on
Yeah.
this type of information and these type of epidemics that have plagued before. So
Mhm.
I think the elderlies might be a little better shape than some of us that's a lot younger than them.
Mhm. Well, they're wiser, that's for sure. They know so much more because they've been through so much more.
All right, so we're getting ready to wrap up. But before we wrap up, Monica and Carlos, do you have anything else you want to share from your background on how people can manage their stress and anxiety right now?
Well, I just want you guys to know that there is resources and help available through Chris 180 out here. Don't hesitate to call us up. Let us guide you where you need to go. Take care of yourself. Take care of your family. Interact with your family. Put the phones down and game out with your people. Like really talk and hone in on love. Love each other. That's what I got.
That's great. Thank you. I would say laugh as much as you can possibly laugh.
Yeah, it's been a blast.
So if you have to watch a comedy, watch a comedy. If you have to read the comics, read the comics. Whatever it takes to laugh. Play stupid games with your kids like Dumb Faces and whatever it takes to laugh, because laugh makes the endorphins work, which causes our immune system to work better and go up. So laugh, and with the exercise, dancing is just a blast. But
Sing.
Singing.
Don't sing in here.
No, I'm not singing. No, that's dangerous.
All right.
So do things that come natural to us that we all did back in the olden days. Okay, the olden days could be the 80s, could be the 60s, could be the 30s. It depends on how old you are. But it's natural, good things that we can do for fun. You don't have to have money to do fun things.
Love overcomes fear.
It's true.
What a great way to end. Thank you all for joining us on our Facebook Live Lunchtime Conversation. We'll be continuing these throughout the next few weeks. Let us know. Drop a comment below if you'd like to hear us talk about specific topics. And for more information on our services, please go to chris180.org.
We'll see you next time.
Bye.